Okay, great. Well, welcome back. Today's class, we're going to be focusing. It's so bad. She's scared of the bottle, so it works. We're going to be focusing on the psoas muscle, which I'm sure some of you know. It comes from, but I learned this recently. Comes from your lower spine, and it wraps around, comes to your hip flexor, front of your hips. So it has it helps with a lot of different things. Hip flexion, extension. It can influence how your lower back is feeling, etc. So it's a muscle that's nice to work on. So if you ever feel like low back stuff or hip stuff, it could potentially be the psoas muscle that needs some work. So we'll be doing some different like active stretches and strengthenings and movements like that. And we'll start off on the floor, go up, and then make our way back down. So that's today's class. We're going to start lying down on your backs if that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, you could always start off sitting in a chair. But if it works for you to lie down on your back, that's a really nice way to start off with your psoas muscle. If you have blocks, you might use them for like one or two poses, so you can have those nearby. If you want to have something under your head, like a pillow, I always recommend that. And we'll get started lying down on the back and start to tune in to the body. Hmm. Feeling the weight of the body on the ground. Start to notice your back area. How does it feel? Move your awareness now to your hips. There's a great expression I learned from my yoga teacher training from one of our teachers. She likes to say the body is always in the present moment, which I think is a lovely reminder that when we tune into our body, we can always bring our awareness back to the present moment. And now we're going to start to tune into the area where the psoas muscle is. And even if you've never seen it before, it might feel a little abstract. Just bring your awareness to the area of the lower back. And imagine that you could see this band of muscle that starts at the lower spine and starts to wrap around the pelvis and then comes and attaches around the front of the hip flexors. So just imagine you could see that band of muscle there. And start to imagine that area is softening. Feel as if you could breathe into that area and feel the whole area soften towards the floor. Every time you inhale, feel expansion. Imagine that you could inhale all the way down to your hips and your low back. And then exhale, feel everything soften. Keep breathing like that, nice and slowly. And then we'll start here by extending the legs out if your knees are bent. And you'll start by just kind of shaking the legs. So just kind of rotating your legs left and right. Just starting to kind of loosen up, wake up the area. So we're just shaking, rotating the legs left and right. We'll just keep doing that for a little while. If you're feeling like you want to add in anything else, like a little ankle roll or a little shake up and down, you could do that as well. And then you can come back to these little rotations of the legs left and right. Nice. Okay. From here, we're going to flip onto the belly. If that doesn't feel comfortable for any reason, you can play around with having props, like you could have a pillow underneath your hips, for example, like this, if you needed to prop it up, prop yourself up. Or if just getting down this way doesn't work, you can continue on your back, but we're going to do the same movement. So we're going to rotate the legs. Once you've set yourself up in a comfortable position, you're going to just rotate the legs left and right. And I'm sitting myself up here so that you can hear me, but you can feel free to lie down like this. I'm just trying to get the area all nice and loose. So continue like that, as slow or as fast as you like. And then let's take a moment and just have the legs stay still. And then you can put your head down and just feel your hips, feel your low back area. And then when you're ready, we'll make our way up onto hands and knees. And from here, extend your right leg out. And you can keep it here with your toe on the ground. Or if you want, you can press into your hands, make your arms nice and strong, and then lift your leg up. And then after you lift your leg up, you can rotate it, just like we were doing before. So now we're just doing one leg at a time, and now it's in the air, so it's going to be more challenging. We're trying to see if we can rotate the whole leg in and out. So legs up in the air or toe is on the ground, and you're rotating. Continue to push your hands into the mat. Maybe feel like your elbow creases are trying to turn forwards. And then we'll lower that leg down if it was up in the air and come to hands and knees again. Then we'll extend the left leg and same thing. You can keep your toe on the ground and rotate, or you can lift your leg up in the air and rotate there. Okay, and then we'll lower that back down. Bend the knees, and then we'll get off the wrists for a moment. You can sit up and sort of turn the wrists in circles, or you could come into child's pose to get off of your wrists. We'll just do some little circles here. You can always put extra padding under knees and wrists as well. Okay. We're going to head back down to hands and knees. And we'll go ahead and lift the right leg up again, but this time keep the knee bent and we'll circle around. So now we're rotating around the hip in a different way. So those big circles like that, kind of like that fire hydrant, like you're kicking up to the ceiling, then you're bringing your knee out to the side and then back down. And at any point you can change directions. You can do both directions, these circles. And then as you're ready, lowering that knee down. Feel free to take a moment again to get off your wrists and circle the wrists around or come into child's pose. And then we'll come back onto hands and knees once more and do the other side. So bringing the other leg up, kicking up towards the ceiling, bringing the knee out to the side and around in a circle. If this feels like too much time on your hands or your wrists, you can come down to elbows as well. Could be a nice way to get off the wrists. Or you can just take breaks, changing directions whenever you want. Okay, and then lowering back down. And then we can stretch back into child's pose for a moment or sit on the knees and move the wrists around. Okay, Th- this is where you might use blocks if you have them, because we're going to come into a low lunge. And again, you can pad underneath your knees if that's helpful as well. So we're going to come into a lunge. We're going to do something kind of funny. So you're in this lunge here. You're going to try to imagine your pelvis is moving left and right. So you can kind of see it's like this very small movement. I'll show you from the front. And you're seeing if you can keep your legs still, but you see how my pelvis is just kind of shifting left and shifting right. Shifting left, shifting right. It's maybe feel funny, maybe feel good. Everyone's experience will be different. So we're shifting our pelvis left and right. Okay, and then we'll switch sides. So switching sides, however works for you. Coming forward, you can have your hands on blocks if that's helpful. And then again, just trying to find that pelvis area and shifting it left and right. It's kind of like you're swinging your hips up to the left and then over to the right. And just notice how it is on this side. Okay, beautiful. All right, we're going to come on out of that. And then we'll make our way up to standing from here. Take a moment to find your feet, feel your feet grounded down and in a position that makes you feel strong and stable. For this next one, you can hold on to something. We're going to do a little bit of balance. So if you have a wall or a chair nearby, that might be nice. And we're going to lift the left leg up and then bring it over to the side and around. So we were doing this on our knees. Now we're doing it standing. So it's that big, seeing if you can kind of keep your pelvis somewhat still so that it's just imagine your femur bone is just like rotating in the hip socket while the pelvis stays somewhat still and facing forward. We can change directions, of course, when we're ready, taking breaks as well. You can test out your balance or just keep your hand on whatever's supporting you. If you were to, you could also do this in a chair if you didn't want to stand all the way up. Just doing the same movement while sitting. Okay, let's put that down and take a moment just to shake it out. Shake, shake, shake it out. Nice after all the controlled movements, just to shake your legs, shake your whole body. Okay, now we'll switch sides. So now we'll take our right leg up. You can have something next to you to support. Knee goes out, foot comes behind, and then you're making those same circles. Again, see if you could picture your femur bone just rotating, your thigh bone rotating in the hip socket without your pelvis moving. As you're doing this, see if you can bring awareness to your standing foot and continue to press down into that standing foot. That will really activate that standing leg. Switching directions anytime. Alrighty. And then we'll lower that back down and do some more shaking. Shaking the legs, shaking the hips, shaking the arms. Okay, nice. All right, we're gonna do some more psoas release. If you have something, it's not necessary, but if you have something to stand on, like a block or a thick book, it can be kind of nice to have a little bit of height for one of your feet. So I'll show it without that. So if you have something, you can stand up on it. If not, it's okay. But we'll stand on one leg and just swing the other leg. So we're trying to release the psoas on that side. So when you have something to stand on, it's kind of nice because you get a little more height there. You can see I have a little more height to swing my other leg. So either way, just swinging back and forth. Okay, right. And we'll lower that one down and switch sides, either standing on something or not, hanging on to something if that's helpful, and then swinging. If you're not holding on to something, you can kind of swing your arms at the same time. Okay, and then we'll lower that back down. Nice. All right, let's bring our feet out a little bit wider I think we did this last class, but I love this move where you just tilt your hip one direction and then the other direction. We were doing the same thing in a lunge, but I just think it's feels so good. So another way to kind of move the pelvis around in a direction that's different than what we might do on the daily. Nice. Okay, we'll finish that one up. Excellent. And then we'll stand in Tadasana for a moment. You can do a few more little shakeouts. Okay. So this next one, you might like to use the wall. It's going to be another balancing posture. So we'll go ahead and step our left foot forward, like we're taking a step forward. And then I have the wall in front of me. It could also be a chair. And I'm going to start to come forward so that I can reach the wall. And you can see I'm lifting now my back leg. And you can come even closer and just be like this, or you can come more at like an angle. So this is like warrior three. And then with the back leg, let's see if we can rotate it, just like we did in that lunge. So you can be here, or like I said, you can be here. Actually, I have a windowsill to grab onto. That can work well. And we're rotating that standing leg. So this is like warrior three with a twist. Okay, and then we'll lower our feet back down, take a moment to shake it out. And then as you're ready, we'll do the other side. So same thing, second side, grabbing onto a windowsill or wall or top of the back of a chair. Stepping forward with the right foot and then letting the left leg come out behind you. And then once you're set up, you can start to rotate that back leg. See if you can feel the rotation from your hip all the way up to your hip. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to lower that leg down as you're ready. Push off of the wall or the chair. And then take one more moment to either shake it out or just stand still. And then from here, we are going to come back onto the ground. So we'll come into a seated position. So you can be sitting on the floor, you could be sitting up on a cushion. And we're going to have our knees out in front of us. Okay. And then we'll lean back on the hands, bring the feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, and knock the knees in and knock the knees out. So another form of rotation with the hips. Okay, nice. All right, if your feet are far away from you, like mine kind of are, you can bring them in a little bit closer, keeping the knees up to the ceiling, and then we'll bring the knees all the way over to one side, both of them. And when you do that, check out your legs, see if they're both at a 90-90-ish angle. It's not going to be exactly because everyone's different. So the knees are now facing one direction and they're at about a 90-ish degree angle. Okay, now we're going to do this funky movement. We'll see if it works on my tile floor and on whatever surface you have. So we're going to push the legs away from us so that we come into this straddle. And then we're gonna pull the heels back and come to the other side. See how my knees are coming whoop, to the other side in a 90-degree angle again. So now I'm facing the other side. Then I'm gonna push my heels away from me, come into the straddle, pull my heels back in, turn my knees, turn my body to the other side. I hope this is making sense. Let's push the heels out into a straddle and then bring them back in. So a little bit of brain activation. You might start to kind of inch forward. You might feel yourself inching forward. I can see that I'm inching forward. Okay, lovely. All right, the next time we end, we'll end in the center. Great. And then you can lean back on your hands again and just rotate the legs in and out, in and out. And see what angle your legs are. And then let's change the angle. So let's make the angle a little bit closer together. So I just sliding my legs a little bit closer together. I'm going to rotate again. Then we're going to slide our legs just a few inches together and rotate again. So we're getting this rotation at many different angles here. Slide them together again, rotate. Slide all the way, the closest you can. Okay, everybody. From here, we're going to come back down onto the back. Not, not quite yet Shavasana. But we'll come down. If you had a pillow under you and you want to bring that back to under your head, you are welcome. From here, actually for this first one, the pillow might not be the best because we're going to plant our feet, knees facing the ceiling, and feel your feet planted in a position where you feel strong and stable. Hands can be by the hips. And we're going to start to push into our feet so much that the bum lifts off the ground and then the hips lift off the ground. And we're in this sort of bridge position. We're not worrying about trying to get super high or pop the chest out. We're really we're focusing on the hips. So I'm going to call this a hip bridge. And then we'll lower back down. And then if you want, you can take your hands right to the crease of your pants, right at your hip crease, and feel like you're just wanting to uncrease the hip crease as you lift your bum off the ground. And now you've uncreased that hip crease there. And then we'll lower back down again. And we'll start to move up and down in your own time. You can make it with your breath. You could inhale as you come down. Exhale as you rise, or the opposite. But focus your energy in your hips, keeping your legs strong by pressing into your feet as you rise. Okay, let's do one more And see if we can hold for a moment, for a breath or so, up in this bridge, pressing into those feet. Nice strong legs. And then as you're ready, we'll roll all the way back down. Go ahead and bring your knees towards your chest. You can keep them wide and then circle them around. So one hand on each knee, circling your legs around. Get a little massage for the lower back here. Beautiful. Okay, let's lower your left leg down to the ground and we'll keep that right leg up. So you can see my right leg is up at a sort of a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to bring my right hand onto the thigh. And what we're doing is we're going to push into the thigh with the hand and at the same time push the hand into the thigh. Is that what I just said? Push thigh into hand, hand into thigh. So this is sort of a active release. Ooh, it's intense. And then we'll lower that back down, try the other side. So lifting the left leg up into that 90-degree, placing your left hand on thigh, and then pushing thigh into hand and hand into thigh. Relax your jaw, neck soft. And then we'll let that go. Beautiful. Okay, let's raise the right leg up again. Now, if we raise our right leg really high, you're going to feel your low back sort of like press into the ground. We don't really want that. So find the height that your leg needs to be so that you can keep that natural lumbar curve in your low back. So that might be like down here, might be up here. It just depends on your body. So once you've found that spot, start to rotate. Becoming predictable. So as you rotate, just feel that your tailbone is pressed down, but your low back is hopefully not smushed into the floor. We're just rotating. I say just, but it's usually feels quite intense. And then as you're ready, we'll lower that back down. Take a moment. You can shake that leg out. And then we'll do the other side. Extending the left leg out. And again, you might just try to like lift your leg as high as you can and feel how your low back presses onto the ground. Then lower that leg until you find the place where, okay, my lumbar or my tailbone is pressed down, but the low back is not, if that makes sense. And then we'll rotate that leg. And as you're ready, you'll start to lower that back down. Maybe you rotate as you lower. And then shaking that leg out. Extend both legs out for a moment if that's comfortable. And just notice how your legs feel. Nice. Alrighty then. Okay, so from here, if you have something like a bolster or like a really big pillow, something that you can put under your legs for this last part. That can be really nice. So it could be just like a big couch cushion, or it could be a big blanket or a bolster like this. Because what we're going to do is place it under the knees, and you can kind of position your knees so that you're in this butterfly pose, but not with your heels really close to your body. Like you can extend your heels way out. They don't even need to be touching, but you're in this kind of slight open position here with your knees resting on something. So it might be really worth taking the time to find that thing. And if you have a blanket, you could also put a blanket over you depending on the weather. And then I'll invite you to just get comfortable with your props. And once more, tune back into your body. Noticing how your legs feel, your hips feel. Imagine you can feel yourself really melting downwards into the ground. Start to tune back in to your body. Can start to stretch and move again. And then eventually, if you like, coming into a seat, although you have full permission to stay lying down forever for the rest of the day. Either way, we can end here by bringing our hands to prayer, or you can bring a hand to your heart. Thanking ourselves for taking the time today to move and breathe, and thanking each other for showing up today to be together and share this space. And most importantly, thanking the ancient practice of yoga, which we can continue to reap so many benefits from to this day. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Stop the recording.